that done lost his darn mind. He
Right.
done lost his mind. Blackmailed her, threatened her so she couldn't leave, told her that you either gonna come work for my mom or I'm gonna have you arrested because I'm gonna lie and say you stole from me.
Yes.
Is it love? Is that love? That's what I wrote in my notes. I said, "It's just love." You
Well,
think
it was
coerce a woman to be your mistress? Dear gentle viewers, thank you for accepting our warm invitation to the Margins to Movies Tea Party.
for today's show, we entered the wonderful world of the ton to read and watch a book adaptation to answer that age old burning question, which is better, the book or the movie?
We are your hosts, your favorite internet bookworms. I'm Nita Key. I'm Lady Nita Key.
And I'm Lady Della B. We are gathered here today to discuss Book 3 of Julia Quinn's Bridgerton series, An Offer from a Gentleman.
Very
Lady
well.
Key,
Very scandalous. An
Lady
offer from
Key,
a
please.
gentleman.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start with our rating for those of you who want to read the book. You haven't watched the series, you want to watch it, and you can get our ratings, take our recommendations, run along, read the book, watch the TV series, and then come back to us, okay? So let's get into our ratings. Do you want to start with the book, Lady Della?
Yes, I will start with the book. So I am a huge Cinderella fan.
Okay.
And as a
Oh, can we
matter of
drop our
fact,
accents?
I'm sorry?
Can we drop our accents?
Yes, we can.
Oh, yes, good. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So for my book rating, I am a big Cinderella fan. As a matter of fact, when I was a young girl, my brother used to call me Cinderdella. That was my
Oh,
nickname with my brother, and I loved it because
that's so cute.
I thought I was Cinderella sometimes. I don't know. Even though I'm not a big romance person, I did like the Cinderella story of the book. So I would put it on the TBR list. It's definitely something that you can read in the future, especially if you like fairy tales like Cinderella.
Mm. All right. So for me, I have not read a romance novel in so long. So it was like, okay, I have to return to the world of the heaving bosoms and the quivering members and the kind of low stakes drama, right? So it was kind of an adjustment when the conflict of the story really kicked in. That's when I started to enjoy it a little bit more. So I am rating it TBR list if you like romance novels.
Okay, let's get into the movie adaptation.
Okay.
So let's talk about our movie rating. I would give it a splurge a little because I did like it. You know, the Bridgertons, I do love the Bridgerton series, and I liked it. So I would say splurge a little with the Bridgerton and Offering a Gentleman.
As for me, I love the wonderful world of the Bridgertons. So I was really looking forward to it, but it's my least favorite so far of the adaptations. Just my opinion. So
I
I
agree.
am giving it, yeah, I'm giving it frugal snacks, which it hurts me to say it, but that's how I feel.
I agree with you on that. I would say it was my least favorite of all the Bridgerton series adaptations as well. Okay, so let's get into this summary of the book. Lady Nita Key, would you like to take that and run with it for us?
Yes, Lady Whistledown sent me a little situation I can share with the people. Okay, thank you, Lady Whistledown. And an offer from a gentleman. We are introduced to Sophie Beckett. Okay, Sophie Beckett is giving Jon Snow. Sophie Beckett is giving. We don't know who her mother is. In the beginning of Game of Thrones, we didn't know who Jon's mother was. In this series, we know who Sophie's father is. He is Earl Richard Runningworth, okay? But he lied to everybody,
Mhm.
lied to the people, said, this is my ward. And then everybody looked at this little girl like, she's blonde, because, they're white in the book. And
Mhm.
they're like, girl, this is your byblow, okay? This is not a ward, okay? So we have a situation where the Earl gets married to this woman who had two daughters. And Sophie was so excited, like, oh, I get sisters. But Let me tell you something. This is Game of Thrones meets Cinderella, okay? So Sophie's stepmom is an evil stepmother. She does not like the fact that her husband is taking care of his Biblo. She's like, that Biblo need to be over by somewhere else, being raised by someone else. She took offense to it. She was like, how are you going to have me in the house? And what about my daughters? Mind you, her daughters have no relation to that man. Right? But she wanted for him to put his daughter to the side to treat her daughters as if they were his daughters because they were legitimate. Crazy stuff going on in this book. Okay, so we have an issue where Sophie's being raised by this evil stepmother, and unfortunately, her father passes away. The father passes away. The evil stepmother tells her, girl, your daddy didn't even love you. He didn't leave
Yeah.
you a dowry. Now, I guess I'll let you stay with me. You know what I'm saying? You could be my maid, my slave, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Doing her a favor.
Yeah, like she's doing her a favor, but she was getting paid keeping Sophie, right? So
Exactly.
wonderful friends who also work in the home, and they see like how her life is and how it turned out. So they said, girl, you know what? The Bridgerton's having a masquerade ball, girl. Get a dress out of this trunk. Let's get a mask on, some gloves, and you go infiltrate the party, the masquerade. No one will know because you're wearing a mask. So she goes, okay, and who should she run into but the most eligible bachelor in the ton, Benedict Bridgerton. So
Woo!
he saw her. He was like, "Oh, she giving a different type of energy than these other little women up in here. So let me get to know her." So they kind of slipped off into a little secluded situation, and they were talking and getting to know each other. And he was teaching her how to dance, and it was also wonderful until midnight struck, honey. And when midnight struck, she had to go before she got caught by her evil stepmother and her stepsisters. One of the stepsisters wasn't evil. Posey, I felt like was
No,
a
she
pretty
wasn't.
she was kind
No,
to
she
her,
wasn't.
right?
She
But
was.
let me tell you, she left a glove with Benedict, but the stepmother found out because she wore her stepmother's shoes on
Mhm.
her Cinderella slippers from the stepmother to the party, scuffed them. Stepmother figured out, put two and two together when Benedict was running around town looking for her. And she's like, girl, you done ran off to the party and you trying to snag the most eligible bachelor in the ton? No, no, no. You're going to clean out my shoes. You stay in this closet while Benedict is visiting because the glove had the family crest on it.
That is
So
correct.
he figure out what my woman at, because these women don't look like my woman. So she locks her in the closet. Sophie, thankfully, is let out by Posey. And there are some shoe clips in the closet. She stole the shoe clips and ran off for 2 years. Benedict is looking for her, in search of her, trying to find this mysterious woman. He's obsessed,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, lo and behold, she ends up being a maid at the Cavenders.
Yes.
And Benedict is over there hanging out with some lower class rich people because they are not gentlemen over there, right? So
Right.
the the scoundrel of the house, he has Sophie hemmed up because he wants to have his way with her and
Mhm.
take her maidenhood.
Mhm.
And thankfully, Benedict sees and he rescues her, right? So when he
Yes.
rescues her, the scoundrel of the house said, well, yeah, she don't have a job. I don't know what to tell you. He said, that's okay. I'm going to take her with me, right? So he was like, oh, she's going to come. She can work for me. I'll help her find a job with my family. So they left, get caught in the rain, end
Yes.
up having to detour instead of going back to his family home. He has a nice little cabin, honey, a little setup in the woods type situation
My
called
cottage.
My Cottage, right?
My
She's nursing him back to health because he's really sick from the rain and he's coughing, and no one is there. So they're there alone together. She's nursing him to health. He asked her for a kiss. She gave him a little kiss or whatever and whatnot. And they end up spending time there, getting to know each other, really bonding. And you see their dynamic kind of come through because Benedict likes to poke at her and she got a little temper. So he said something to her and she got upset and threw like a teacup at his head or something like that. I was like, ooh. So then, child, Benedict is skinny dipping one day in the
Uh-oh.
pool. She walked by, she said, ooh, ooh, he can afford, okay? So she stops and watches him. He pulls up on her. All of the sexual tension has been building up and building and building, and they about to get it popping. Now he's
Uh-oh.
like, she's a maid, she's not of my class, but she could be my mistress. She
Uh-oh.
can't be my wife, but she could be my mistress. So he asked her, like he's bestowing a favor upon her. Hey, girl, you want to be my mistress? She was like, boy, bye. No, I don't want to be your mistress. She punched him in the stomach. She tried to ring off. He grabbed her leg. She hits the ground. I was like, this little violent relationship, child. What's with this domestic violence?
Uh-oh.
But she was like, you done lost your mind. How you gonna come to me on some be your mistress type stuff? So he was like, wait a minute, you don't want to be my mistress? I'm trying to do you a favor. She was like, no. So instead of him accepting that she said no, he blackmails her.
Mm-hmm.
And
Pretty
I wrote
much.
in my notes, Benedict done lost his darn mind. He
Right.
done lost his mind. Blackmailed her, threatened her so she couldn't leave, told her that you either gonna come work for my mom or I'm gonna have you arrested because I'm gonna lie and say you stole from me.
Yes.
Is it love? Is that love? That's what I wrote in my notes. I said, it's just love. You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
it was,
Coerce a woman to be your mistress? You know what
yeah,
I'm
I don't,
saying? So,
yeah, it was
I'm
a
sorry.
desire, a strong desire. I don't think it was love. Some passion there.
Yeah, that's a mess. And that's the patriarchy too.
Yes, it was.
That's possession. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's not love. And I was like, that caste system is strong, honey.
It's
Like, you
very
can't be
strong.
with her at all in any type of way. She can only be your mistress. And I don't blame her. She stood firm
She
that
did.
she was not going to be his mistress. So I really like that about her character. Anyway, they go back to the ton. She's introduced to the family as a maid. He's kind of coming by to see her. She's mad at him about him asking her to be his mistress.
Mistress.
He's mad at her because she's not yielding. And then one day, child, she yields, honey. Lets him indulge in her maidenhood.
Mm-mm. Uh-oh.
Y'all, the way it was written about was very romance book-esque. I mean,
Yes,
it was
definitely.
pinnacles all up and through her
Definitely.
first time. Oh, yeah. So this is very romance novel-esque. But anyway, so they are kind of getting a little closer, but then evil stepmom and stepsisters move next door, figure
Yep.
out that Sophie is the maid for the Bridgertons. Stepmama have her arrested. Who comes to save the day? Who comes to save the day, Lady Stella?
It must be Benedict.
Yeah, and Lady Violet. So they come and save the day. So, you know, the evil stepmama down there acting a fool, talking about
Oh,
she
yeah.
stole shoe clips from me and all that. Posey come running down saying, no, I'm the one who stole the shoe clips. Posey's
Yep.
lying. Because in
Yeah,
the
she
book,
was.
Sophie really did steal the shoe
She
clips.
did.
So then they figure out that evil stepmama stole this girl dowry. So it was like, well, you stole her dowry, so you should be in jail too. Blackmail her, and they get stepmom to say that Sophie is a cousin of her dad. And now she's legitimate, and now she and Benedict can be together. They can get married, they can have babies, and live happily ever after.
Happily ever after.
Ooh, child,
Cinderella
what-
all the way.
Ooh,
Oh.
child, ooh, reading Lady Whistledown. Look a little something out of me, child. Okay, very good. Okay, so now let's talk about the casting decisions for Bridgerton and An Offer from a Gentleman. Okay, so who are the stars of this series?
Okay, so for Benedict, we had Luke Thompson. And then for Sophie, we had Yeren Ha. She's Korean, but she's from Sydney, Australia. Luke is actually from London, I believe, and he speaks both French and obviously English.
Oh, okay. We have been with Benedict for a little while now because
Yeah.
this is season 4, even though his story is book 3.
Yes.
But for the adaptation, this is number 4. I have been looking forward to this because I felt like they've been doing a pretty good job of developing his character. And I felt like he was the most interesting Bridgerton in terms of trying to find himself and being
Right.
an artist and exploring his sexuality.
Right.
So I thought that they had a lot of material there to really make his story really, really good. I felt like something was missing. I don't know if it was the it factor
Mm-hmm.
that the lead has. I mean, he's a handsome man. I don't know if it was sex appeal I was missing.
That's
but
what I
for me,
think.
something was missing. What did
Yeah,
you think?
I think it was a sex appeal that was just missing as well. He was a handsome man. I liked him in the other Bridgerton series, but in this one as the lead character, it just didn't lean towards a leading man that had a lot of charisma, a lot of sex appeal. I just didn't pick up on that from him in this series. And I'm not sure why. because in the other series, it was fine, but maybe it was because of him being a lead, we really noticed it in this case.
Well, when you're the lead, you have to carry the series,
Yeah,
baby.
you
So
do.
you're not a side character anymore. You're the star of the
Exactly.
show. So it's a different set of skills. I think you have to have a certain charisma, like I said, a certain it factor. I felt that even with Sophie, I feel
Mhm.
like something was lacking with her too. Acting was a little flat to me. I felt like she didn't have a lot of range as an actress. Something was missing that I got from season 1 with Simon and Daphne. Really, really related to both of them, right? Really cared about them in a way that I didn't really care about these 2 characters, and I was like, "I don't know if it's just me, but something is missing."
Yeah, and I kind of felt the same thing with Sophie. I liked her, but again, it just seems like it never went anywhere to be real, dramatic for you or anything like that. I don't know if it was because she was directed to act that way or if it's just her acting skills. I'm
Mhm.
not sure what other show she's been in. I've never seen her before, but I agree with you on that. Her acting just kind of felt a little flat to me as well.
Yeah, and they gave him some steamy scenes, and they gave
Oh,
him some
yes,
drama and stuff,
definitely.
but, yeah, I don't know. So, okay, so let's talk about just the hits and misses overall for this adaptation, okay? So, I'll go first.
Mm,
So the hits, it's Bridgerton, it's pomp, it's circumstance, it's high tea. I loved it. I love how in this series it opened with the behind the scenes about the staff, the maids, the butlers. They had more of a presence in this season, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the little story with the one guy who I guess drove the carriages, and the women were just going crazy, like, "Oh, he's so cute, he's so handsome," and I really like just seeing the different personalities and how things move behind the scenes, right? I like all the characters in the adaptation. The book, of course, is mostly just about Sophie
Benedict. And
and Benedict. Thank you. But I like all the characters. I like the Queen. The Queen isn't in the book. The Queen just gives her wigs, honey. She just
love it.
gives.
Love
I
it.
love her. I like the character of Lady Danbury and her friendship with the Queen. That was kind of heartfelt, the little moments they were having about Lady Danbury wanting to leave. I like the mom. I thought
Oh,
Lady
Violet Bridgerton?
I
I
said, "She's
love
the most interesting Bridgerton to
I
me."
love her.
I'm like, what is gonna happen with her and Lord Marcus, honey?
Marcus, darling.
Lord Marcus was giving sex appeal. That man is giving zaddy, okay? So I really like that, how she was like, "You know what? Imma get it popping behind the scenes, honey." I love that they gave that to an older character love
Right.
scene. I thought
Absolutely.
amazing.
Absolutely.
Francesca, it was sad because what happened with her husband in this series, but the whole little thing about the pinnacle and Penelope and Colin getting it popping in the carriage, and then Penelope like, "Girl, we newlyweds," and Francesca was like, "Girl, I can't relate, honey."
Me.
Yeah, I like the conversation she had with the mom about the pinnacle situation because it reminded me of season 1 when Daphne was trying to find out about the birds and the bees.
Right.
I really liked that little throwback to that. I liked how they talked about Sophie because they talked about her being a biblo. They used it a lot in the books. It was really
Yeah.
harsh to what described her. So I think they did soften all that up in Bridgerton. And finally, I felt like they fixed some things with Benedict because Benedict blackmailing Sophie to be his mistress and kidnapping her and the coercion, honey, it would not have played out well on the
Yeah.
show.
Right.
So what are some
Exactly.
hits for you?
Okay, so some hits for me was that I agree that I did like the fact that they brought in other stories into the movie adaptation of it. I love Violet Bridgerton. I love Lady Danbury. I loved all their stories. Francesca's story, I like the pinnacle part of it, but yeah, her and her husband. I'm sorry, I know he's gone, but it was kind of a little boring to me. But
Yes, please, baby, but you were boring,
yeah,
okay?
he was just kind of boring. So, but I was really glad that they brought in those stories. I also agree with you that they did soften Benedict's character in the movie. In the book, he was a little harsher, and I
Yeah.
think that they softened him a lot more in the movie, so I did
He was
like
not
that. So
giving
that
legally
definitely was a
gentleman.
hit for
He
me.
was not giving Prince Charming, let me tell you.
No, I agree with that as well. So those were a couple of the hits that really stuck out to me that I really liked about, what they did. And I love that they brought in the queen as well. There
Mhm.
were some things that were going on with the queen that I had to go back and I had to watch Queen Charlotte because I wanted to pick up a little bit more on her story as well. I love the diversity of it as well. Sometimes I thought it lost a little bit of the realism of the time, of the era, but I did love
Because
the diversity
everybody's
that they brought
swirling.
into. Yes,
Everybody's
yes,
swirling.
exactly, exactly. So
Even
lots
the
of it
little
lost.
boy, with
It
the
was
little boy
definitely
at the
fantasy.
you know?
Definitely fantasy. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it lost a little bit of the realism for the era at the time, but again,
Mhm.
it was good and I like the fantasy of it because it is a fantasy.
Yeah.
So Cinderella
It's
for me, fantasy all the way, and I like the way they adapted that as well.
yeah, I like the fantastical adaptation. Okay, so some misses from me with the adaptation. I said, "Child, the ton know they love a rake." I am
Oh my
so
gosh.
over the rake
Yes.
storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes women like a bad boy, but my goodness, when you
Yes.
talk about
Every
the
single one of them.
patriarchy, yeah, the patriarchy in terms of holding up the puritanical expectations for women. Women can't do anything. They're
Mm-mm.
scandalized. And I guess they're highlighting the hypocrisy of it, which is good.
Yes.
Them got to be a rake. Simon was a rake.
Yes.
Anthony had that situation with that
Yes.
actress.
Yes.
Colin went through his rake period. Well, I said, love a rake, honey. I'm over it. Don't bring that in the next one. Let that rake go. Another thing I thought was a miss. I'm starting to feel like the Bridgertons are lacking a little bit of depth. I'm
Yes.
kind of like it's just they're aristocrats. You know what I'm saying? They have rich people problems. To me, they're not as relatable. And maybe in the beginning, all of it was new, so it was just so wonderful. Because the
Yes.
first season is like lightning in a bottle. But now, after 4 seasons, I'm like, we got to do something to add more depth to these characters to make them more
Right.
interesting. Because in my opinion, so far, the love interest they give the interesting story, the background, the conflict. They give a lot of that to the love interest, which makes them way more interesting to me than the Bridgertons. But if you're
Mhm.
trying to get 8 series out of these Bridgertons, you're gonna have to add some more depth to these characters. With Eloise, I started feeling like I could write her dialogue.
Yeah.
Well, who
Yeah.
wants to be married? Oh no,
Yes.
making fun of
Yes.
people who want to be married and all that. She did start to show some growth with her sister and with Cressida, understanding their motivations a little more. So I was happy
Mhm.
for that. Because I'm like, child, this dialogue is giving weak. We need more
Yes.
depth, Bridgertons. What
I
about
agree.
Miss you?
So for me, there were a couple of misses and some things that actually happened in the adaptation that I thought were missed. First of all, I thought that they almost did a flip on an actual Cinderella story because Cinderella's story is about Cinderella and
Uh-huh.
her finding love with the prince. In this instance, they flipped it and it was almost like giving you the story from the prince's perspective with Benedict being the prince, the one that's ready to get married. So they gave you a little bit of his background story as to why he's, hesitant on being with any of these women that are there at
Mhm.
the masquerade ball. And his mother is trying to push him into talking to these debutantes. It's time for him to get married. And he's kind of confused. And he's like, I just haven't found the one. So that was a little switch for me. And I know it's about the Bridgertons because it is Bridgerton. But as a Cinderella fan, I almost wish they would have started this movie with Sophie so we can get a little bit more about her story and her
Well, she
Cinderella
came in
story.
episode 2, I feel
Yeah,
like.
she did. She came in episode 2. And for me, the book started in the prologue as well as chapter
So
1 were all about her. And when I read that in the book, I was like, oh, Cinderella. I'm a big Cinderella fan. So I really read the book quickly because I wanted to see the Cinderella story. Another hit for me was I like the fact that Posey was the one in the adaptation who actually did steal the shoe clip and it
mhm.
wasn't Sophie. I like that. I thought that was a good adaptation. I didn't want Sophie to come across as a thief.
Honey, I said those shoe clips must be made of diamonds, honey, because they
Yeah,
took all that very seriously.
they did. And those clips we found out weren't worth a dime.
Exactly.
Another thing that was a miss, I thought that Benedict should have been saving Sophie from the Cavenders like he did in the book. But in the adaptation, he actually saved another maid. Sophie was there defending the maid, and then he jumped in to further defend that maid. But Benedict didn't actually save her. He was saving the other maid from losing her maidenhood. So I
Yeah.
thought that was a miss because I think that it made him seem to be more of a hero, a Prince Charming hero in the book when he saved Sophie. And
Mhm.
I just like that better in the book. Even though in the book he was a harsher character when it came to him wanting what he wanted
Mhm.
and taking advantage of his status, I did like that better in the book. That was just my take on a couple of hits and misses.
And so, are we ready to answer the question, which was better, the TV series or the book? I'll go first. I felt like with the adaptation, one thing that I really struggled with was part two, because I got through part one pretty well, and then they got to part two, and I was having a hard time moving forward because felt like they stayed with that conflict of society not
Yes.
letting these get together and how strong the caste system is. And in the book, they got into a little more conflicts because the way that Benedict found out who Sophie actually was,
Ah,
he had
yes.
a mask on and she was playing with the kids, and he was like, wait a minute. And he realized, wait, you're the lady in the silver dress. And he was mad at her for keeping that from
Yes.
him. And
Yes.
that was another conflict that they explore in the book. And I thought they could have brought that more to the film because I feel like they kind of sat on that. Oh, they don't want us to be together. You know, iteration in a ton, and it just was, yeah, it was just too much. And they were both kind of get on my nerves with him being flat and saying the same thing over and
I
over.
know. I
Her
know.
just saying the same thing over and over. I feel like they could have brought that conflict in and mixed it up a little bit. So I do think the book is better. The conflict was just a little juicier, even though I felt like the writing was not the best. I mean, the dialogue wasn't the best. Julia Quinn, if she said wicked one more time, I was going to throw myself out of the first floor window, right? But I also like how they have in the epilogue, and they talked about how they were having kids, and they had a little extra epilogue with Posey's story and found out what happened with her. So for me, I would say the book is better, and I think that with Bridgerton, just my opinion,
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
think they need to do something to refresh before they come out with another series. That's just me. What about you?
I
Which
agree with you. I'm agreeing with you 100%. I think the book was better as well. And again, maybe it's because I'm just a big Cinderella fan, but I did like the book better. I think that they tried to liven up the book a little bit by bringing in all the other stories to make it a little bit better.
Mhm.
But the actual story about Benedict and Sophie, them specifically as it relates to the book,
Or
was better in the book. Now,
yeah.
some of the other stories were good. Now, maybe what they may do in the next one, because I think they were trying to expand on Eloise. So maybe in the next one, they'll expand on her character a little bit. Let's hope so. Because again, I agree with you. They need to expand on the characters and make it more interesting. But
Mhm.
overall, read the book. The book was better. The writing was not the best. At first, I had a hard time reading it because I was like, oh my God, do I have to read this? But then as I got through it, I really enjoyed it. Again, Cinderella book. Put it on your TBR list, but I would say read the book. The book was better.
Yeah, the characters I think in the book were a little more interesting, even though I was kind of concerned about where y'all gonna be fighting and stuff, like for real, for real. But I mean, it was interesting. It was action, at least. So I do think the book was better. But once again, the book is better if you like romance. So let me put that
Exactly.
there as well.
Exactly. And if you're a Cinderella fan, definitely read the book.
That is all we have for you today for this lovely tea party.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for joining us for our tea party. We appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us on YouTube, please like the video, subscribe to our channel, drop a comment. We would like to chat it up with you in the comments.
Yes,
If
we would.
you read the book or watched the series, let us know what you think as well. We love to hear your thoughts. If you are streaming us wherever you stream podcasts, please follow us and write us a 5-star rating. We would love a 5-star rating. And
We will see you next time as we will meet you between. Bye.
the margins and the movies. Bye.
Bye.